Greetings to all viewers around the world. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2026. Welcome to Only the Truth channel, where we bring truth, analysis, and important global updates that matter to people everywhere. My name is Jennifer, and I am broadcasting live from Only the Truth channel. In today's video, we will be discussing a major international development as Canada delivers a significant blow to Donald Trump's endgame, creating serious political and economic reactions across global circles. This story is raising important questions about international alliances, political strategy, and the future direction of North American relations. Stay with us as we break down the full details, the background behind this major move, and what it could mean for the United States, Canada, and the wider international community. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to Only the Truth channel. Like this video, leave your comments, and share this broadcast with your friends and family on WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, and all social media platforms. Your support helps us connect people globally and continue bringing you truthful and impactful news coverage. Now, let us go straight into today's important report.
Canada is absolutely furious at Donald Trump and his despicable regime, and they are not holding back as the United States is trying to threaten Canada heading into these CUSMA negotiations, the Canadian-United States-Mexico agreement. The United States is trying to extort Canada that if you even want to have the privilege of negotiating with us, you need to pay to play and make all of these concessions for us to even consider a renewal of CUSMA. Otherwise, we are going to try to harm your country and inflict more economic pain. That's the Trump regime's posture as it relates to Canada. And Canada's like, okay, we've had demonstrated to you already that when we are ready to fight back, we're going to win this. Look at the Canadian boycott against United States products, services, and tourism into the United States. Canada is ready to fight. This has the Trump regime running scared. We know Howard Lutnick is like, oh, Canada sucks, man. Canada sucks. Like, why are they even doing this? To which Senator Shaheen from New Hampshire is like, because you're threatening its sovereignty, because you keep on mocking it, because you impose unlawful tariffs against it, because you constantly launch these phony pretextual investigations against Canada trade in order to justify your atrocities. Maybe that's why, Howard Lutnick. And so, as you all know, we at the Midas Touch Network have worked with the one, the only, Midas Canada Network, and I want to share with you right now what they're saying over there. Charlie Angus, absolutely crushing it, running Midas Canada. Here's what he had to say about what the Trump regime is doing as it relates to CUSMA and how Canada is fighting back. Here, play this clip.
I just want to lay out a bit of what's happening so we can look at the frame of the global situation and what it means for Canada and the United States right now. What Donald Trump has created in Iran is more than just a global dumpster fire. The cascade effects of the chaos that he's created will cause serious damage to the world economy. We're already seeing fuel shortages in Europe, shortages across Asia. What also needs to be looked at is the crisis that's coming in food, because a good percentage of the world's fertilizer comes through the strait, and it will affect countries like Sri Lanka, Sudan, Central Africa, across Asia, that will cause massive increases in food prices, which will have a massive impact on the economy, and of course, the danger of starvation. Not that Donald Trump and his gangsters care, but that's the global threat. At the same time, the United States is now saying they're ready to renegotiate CUSMA, the North American Free Trade Agreement between Mexico and Canada. And the messages that we're getting are the messages I think we expected. Bombast, ignorant attitudes, threat. Howard Lutnick's calling us losers. Yeah, we're losers when we have trade between Canada and the United States worth $1 trillion, and that the United States trades 3 times the amount to Canada than they do to China. But they really hate us. Donald Trump says we are the nastiest people he's ever dealt with. They insult us. They ridicule us. They act like our border doesn't exist because we haven't bent. Now what they're doing is to say, to negotiate CUSMA, we have to pay to play. Yeah, this is gangster economics We're not surprised. We've been saying this on Midas Canada from day one. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a gangster regime. They want us to pay them in order to negotiate a trade agreement. So last year when Prime Minister Carney came in, he agreed to cut the digital services tax, which was giving up Canadian sovereignty over digital taxes to ensure that the big giants like Facebook paid a fair share, or even some share, of taxes to the Canadian economy. Prime Minister Carney gave that up as an act of goodwill. And what did we get back? We got back insults, threats, and Donald Trump saying he's demanding more. Well, now they're demanding more. If we give that up, they will come for more. That's anybody who watches a gangster movie knows how that goes. At the same time, we're learning there's a massive offshore political psyops operation trying to undermine and break Canada, that millions and millions of online views from sites claiming to be pro-Alberta separatists are being pumped into Canada. This is the Brexit playbook. This is the standard, the Russian operations. This is the United States. This is offshore undermining of Canada, because what the United States is going to do under Donald Trump is they are going to back their Donbass-style separatist leader in Daniel Smith to try and break our country apart. So the threats are very serious as we sit down to negotiate CUSMA. But I really was struck last week that Prime Minister Mark Carney gave an address directly to the people, which I've been calling on him to do for some time. Talk to the people, engage the people. And he talked about General Isaac Brock. I was really, really, really shocked when he did that. And I'm going to explain why. To invoke a general who defended Canada against a military threat from the United States on the eve of trade negotiations, I think is pretty provocative. But this is a message that Mark Carney was delivering to Canadians to say, be ready. And he did say that. He said, we've been through tough times before. We will get through this. You know, when Donald Trump is saying he arbitrarily just wants to move our border 50 kilometers. Yeah. You know, take Niagara Falls, take Surrey, take Sherbrooke, take the Great Lakes, take Toronto, take Hamilton, whatever. This is the attitude of a gangster regime. What really makes them angry, why they shout and call us losers and why they insult us, is because we haven't broke, and we are not going to break, and Canada will never break. And I think what Prime Minister Carney was telling us this week is that we've stood up before against incredible odds, and we fought back, and we will fight back again.
Now, Charlie Angus also did this incredible speech. I want to share it with you as well, responding to Howard Lutnick saying that Canada sucks. And this message right here by Charlie Angus has gone viral in Canada. For real, it's such an honor to be affiliated with Midas Canada, to see the great work they're doing, and all the Maple Midas out there. I've gotten so many great messages from all the Maple Midas. I read them all, and I want to let you all know in Canada how much we appreciate you. What an honor it has been to be shoulder to shoulder with you in this fight for democracy internationally. It's been an incredible experience to meet you all, to learn more about you, and to launch Midas Canada with Charlie Angus. But here's what Angus had to say. And he says, Howard Lutnick, you suck. Here, play this clip.
Howard Lutnick, you suck. No, seriously, you really suck. I feel the need to bring this message to you on behalf of the people of Canada who work hard, who play fair, who do their part to build a good society, and they wake up in the morning and they see you on TV insulting our nation and pushing us around and thinking we're like these scrawny kids who are going to give you our lunch money. No, it ain't going to happen. So if that was your strategy, it sucks. It really does. I'm just going to go through a few of the reasons you suck. As a trade negotiator, you suck big time. As a human being, you really suck. And we're going to talk about that. I know it's not comfortable talk for you, but we got to go through there. And then we're going to talk about you as a guy who's supposed to represent the best interests of the American people. On that, you super suck. So let's get down to the first thing. So we are on the verge of renegotiating CUSMA. the North American Free Trade Deal, the biggest trade agreement basically in the world that creates $1 trillion in reciprocal trade between the United States and Canada every single year, that you sell 3 times more products into Canada than you do from China, and that we are a bigger exporter into the United States than China. And yet you say that we suck. Yeah, that you hate us. The same attitude that Donald Trump has, that you think we're some kind of grifters. So you set that up as the terms for the discussion. And then you say we got to pay to play, that we got to give you all kinds of concessions before you'll talk to us. That's a real brilliant strategy, dude, because what that's done is given serious backbone to our prime minister, and woe to any political leader in Canada who does try and give you concessions, because the Canadian people now are paying really close attention to these negotiations, and they're seriously pissed, and they want to give you sweet F all because you're just such a jerk. That's why you suck as a trade negotiator. Now, as a human being, tell us about that photo of Epstein Island, because, I've been reading about your claims about knowing Epstein, and it just doesn't make sense. So in 2005, you find out Epstein's your next door neighbor. So fair enough, you and your wife go over to visit your neighbor. Perfectly normal, I'd say, I guess, for people who live next door to millionaires like Epstein. And you said that when you got the tour, you were incredibly creeped out because he was making these creepy sexual innuendos. And you said, and in the 6 to 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided I would never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Well, that's what any decent human being would say, right? And then Epstein got convicted of sex with an underage person at a time of a major FBI investigation into sex with underage girls. And then there were multiple rumors that Epstein was involved in all manner of sex trafficking with youth, your next door neighbor, and you didn't know any of that. And you said you were never going to be with that disgusting person ever again. And then the Epstein files dropped and we saw your picture at Epstein Island. So then you had to admit, oh, right. Yeah, in 2012, you called him up and went to hang out with him on the island. And you said, quote, my wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. And I had another couple that were there as well with their children. Did you tell that couple about how disgusting Epstein was? Why would you bring your children, dude, to be in the presence of a man that you thought was so disgusting you would never be in the same room with him again, and yet you showed up at his island and brought your kids? Yeah, as a human being, Howard, you suck. And don't take my word for it. I was listening to Republican member of the House, Thomas Massey, who said, you really needed to resign. He said, really, he, that's you, Howard, should make life easier on the president, frankly, and just resign. Now, there you go. Me and Republicans sharing something in common. It's because you suck. Now, your role here is to represent the best interests of the American people who are being hammered from the Canadian boycott, not our government boycott, but the ordinary Canadians who refuse to spend $1 in the United States because of the constant threats and insults. The traffic to tourist destinations is down 35%. It's cost billions of dollars. It shut the Jim Beam distillery down. And rather than lowering the temperature and starting to find common ground again, you're ramping it up and insulting us. And so you have made it clear to Canadians that there is no reason to break the boycott under any circumstances because of your attitude, the attitude that they see from you. It really sucks. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. Take Jean Shaheen, who's the Democrat representative from New Hampshire, whose state is being hammered by the boycott. And she blames you, Howard, for destroying jobs and opportunities in New Hampshire because of your attitude. She thinks you suck.
In my home state of New Hampshire, tourism is the second largest industry, both by revenue, and it supports 70,000 jobs. Canada has long been our largest share of foreign visitors, but last year we saw a 30% drop in Canadian tourism, largely due to the loss of trust and goodwill because of this administration's rhetoric around Canada. Secretary Lutnick last week you said about Canada's economic strategy, and I quote, "They suck." I believe your spokesperson then said this was about Canada's economy leeching off of the U.S. How does insulting our closest ally and neighbor help the businesses in my state of New Hampshire and states all across this country who are hurting because of the loss of Canadian business and tourism?
Canada's economy leans on the incredible $30 trillion economy of America. But
there's no doubt about that, Mr. Secretary. But insulting our closest ally and neighbor who provides a lot of business, we have a lot of businesses in New Hampshire, small businesses who work on both sides of the border. We have all those Canadian visitors who are not coming because of your comments and comments by the administration. How does that help our economy?
It is outrageous that Canada will not put U.S. spirits on the shelf. It is insulting.
It is.
And disrespectful to America that they won't
Absolutely.
even put...
And my husband has an interest in a company that has American spirits. And they won't do it because of the insults from this president and comments like yours.
Wow, man, you are so arrogant. You are so out of touch. You really don't give a damn about the damage that you're doing. Fair play. Come to the negotiating table. Canadians are ready. They are so done with your attitude. They are so done with your arrogance. And they are so done with being nice. Because you know what, Howard Lutnick? You suck.
There you have it, everybody. Let me know what you all think. Powerful words. Make sure you subscribe to Midas Canada as well. Everybody hit subscribe here, subscribe to the Midas Canada YouTube channel, and thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast for new updates every single day.
Thank you for watching today's broadcast on Only the Truth channel. We truly appreciate your time, your support, and your commitment to staying informed about important global events. Your voice matters, and your opinions help create meaningful discussions that connect people across nations. Please continue to support this platform by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing this video across WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, and all social media platforms so more people can join the conversation. Now, we would like to hear from you. Do you believe Canada's latest move will seriously affect Donald Trump's political strategy and future plans? What impact do you think this growing tension between Canada and Trump could have on global politics and international relations? Leave your answers in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Jennifer, broadcasting from Only the Truth channel. Stay informed, stay connected, and always seek the truth.